Okay, here I have some Nelson bars of chocolate. Okay, I have one bar at the top, one bar of here, and part of a bar here. So, how much do I have? So, this bar has been split into three pieces. If we split something into three, we put it into thirds. So I have 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. 1/3, 2/3. So what do I have altogether? I've got here, I have 3/3. 3/3 is the same as 1 whole. Here I've got another 3/3. 3/3 is the same as a whole. Here I have 2/3. 2/3 is less than a whole. So what does that mean? I can say I have 2 whole bars, and what's left over? And what's left over? 2/3. So I've got 2 and 2/3, or I can add them all together and say I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8/3. So here, 2 and 2/3 is the same as 8/3. Now, just to give you a few words, this is a mixed number. We have a whole number and a fraction. This is an improper fraction. It's called an improper fraction because the numerator is bigger than the denominator. If I had something like 3/5, that would be called a proper fraction because the numerator is less than the denominator. Okay, an improper fraction is more than a whole, because 1 whole would be 3/3, this is 8/3. Let's have a look at some more shapes. So these squares have been split into 4 pieces. We've split them into 4, that makes them quarters. So here I have 4 quarters. Here I have another 4 quarters. Here I have another 4 quarters. And here I have 1/4. Okay, so what do I have here? Well, I can say I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 quarters. That's my improper fraction. Or I could say I have 4 quarters here, which is the same as 1 whole. 4 quarters here, which is 1 whole. 4 quarters here, which is 1 whole. I can't say this is a whole because it's not a whole, it's only 1/4. So I have 1, 2, 3 wholes and 1/4. So 3 and 1/4. So 3 and 1/4 is our mixed number. 13 quarters is our improper fraction. A few more. These pentagons have been split into 5. If we split it into 5, that is in fifths. So each part is worth 1/5. So 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. That's another fifth, and that's another fifth. So what do I have? Well, I can say that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7/5 altogether. That's my improper fraction. Or I can say I have 5/5, which is a whole, and 2/5. What do I have altogether? 1 whole and 2/5. And because we haven't changed the shape, these are the same. So 7/5 is the same as 1 and 2/5. Again, this shape's been split into quarters. These squares have been split into 4. Split into 4, they're in quarters. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters. Oh, so you should have worked this out by now. I can say, and we can just see I've got two hole shapes here, one hole, two holes, and in this shape I have 3 quarters. So 1 add 3 quarters is 2 and 3 quarters, or I can add all the individual shapes up, individual quarters up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 quarters. Now, mixed numbers and improper fractions are useful at different times. We'll find out more about that later. So here you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarters. And I can mix and I can share. Let's work out what it would be as a mixed number. Let's share these into wholes. So I have 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters. That's a whole. I'm really sorry, my pen's being funny. 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters. That's a whole, and another quarter. So I have 1 whole, 2 wholes, and 1 quarter. That's the same as 2 and a quarter. What I've done is really I've divided it. So that's 1 whole. It's 4 quarters. That's 1 whole because it's 4 quarters. And that's 1 quarter. Work this out by using division. So I've got 15 thirds. All I'm going to do is I'm going to share it into 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Which means 15 thirds is the same as 5 wholes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 thirds, 4, 5, 6 thirds, 7, 8, 9 thirds, 10, 11, 12 thirds, 13, 14, 15 thirds, the same as 5 wholes. For this one, 19 fifths, so I have 19 divided by 5, and because I know my 5 times table, that is going to be 3 remainder 4. And what is remainder 4? Well, that's how many fifths I have left over. So I have 3 wholes and 4 fifths left over. I'm dividing by 5. I'm splitting it into groups of 5. So I have 4 fifths left over. Last one, 27 divided eighths. So let's do 27 divided by 8, which I know is 24. So nearest number in the 8 times table is 24, which is 3 lots. 25, 26, 27, with remainder 3. So I have 3 wholes, and my remainder 3 is the same as, so it's 3 divided by 8, 3 eighths.